Everybody stand up. Raise your right hand up. Raise your right hand. Give yourself a nice pat on the back and say, I'm amazing. I can't hear you guys. Again. I'm amazing.
I'm amazing.
Here we go. Thank you. Alright, 1 second. So before we begin tonight's seminar, I want to say thank you to Hashem that He gave me the energy, He gave me the drive, He gave me the insights to be able to share with you guys tonight. I want to thank Rach for assisting us with the space, for letting us use this beautiful space. I want to thank all of you for coming out all the way from different places, for finding time to come, to learn, to support, to engage. I want to thank my good friend Jonathan for deciding to help. He was staying with me the other night until like 2 a.m. We were going over the program. And last but not least, I want to thank my wife for being supportive in all my passions and ideas, and holding the fort and managing the kids and the house while I'm here with you tonight. Thank you very much. Okay, so now before we start the program, we're gonna stand up. We're gonna stretch. Come on, guys. We're gonna stretch a little bit. Let's raise our hands all the way up. Let's stretch. Let's breathe. Так вот глубоко. Let's breathe in. Here we go. Let's gently turn to the left. Breathing deeper. Let's turn to the right. Let's step. Let's do 2 steps to the left, 2 steps to the left, and 2 steps to the right. And turn around. Okay, so part of today's seminar is we're gonna be jumping a lot, and I'm gonna show you the research later and the Nikorot, the sources from the Jewish sources where we find that it actually works. But right now we're gonna dance a little bit and jump. Jonathan, please bring it on. Go! Up! Hands up in the air. Come on, guys, move your body. Давайте. Let's get some energy going here. Come on. Okay. Let's go. Up. Sister. Надо пожалуйста сказать, что тоже выпиши подальше. 2 steps. Что-то попить назад хотел. Попить там сколько воды? Я не знаю. Go. Alright. Jonathan. YouTube starts. Okay. Jonathan, you can turn on the slide, please. The projector. Alright. So that was just a warm-up. We're going to be doing this throughout the whole night, and I'll tell you why. This is not just some mishugat. This is not madness. This is not craziness. Actually, this is actually science to this, what looks like madness. And there is Jewish sources to this as well. We're going to see Ramchal. We're going to see Sefer HaChinuch. And one of the topics tonight is how to generate energy. Does anybody feel a little bit more energetic than 5 minutes ago? Anybody? 100%. 100%, right? 100%. It feels good, right? Say yes!
Yes.
Here we go, all right. So, can I have the slides, please? Projector and the slides. Okay, so let's go over the program. The program tonight, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Some of you know me a little bit, some of you don't know me at all. We're going to do a lot of exercising, both physical and psychological, to help you bring out your inner essence, to help you open up the mind and the heart, and to really connect and align to what you want from life, to help you understand and realize, to understand what you want from life, and then after the seminar move forward next 12 months, the next Jewish year, the secular year 2023, to make it your best year ever. Who is up for this? Say aye.
Aye.
Here we go. Let's do it. Okay. About myself. I was born in Moscow, Russia. I left when I was 14 years old. I went on to live in Denmark, Copenhagen. I lived there for about 3 years. I was there for high school. I traveled a lot. By the time I came to the United States, I probably been to, I don't know, been about 15 countries or so, living in Europe, living in Russia, Israel, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Azerbaijan, England, Sweden, name it. My first business in high school, together with a friend, we opened a restaurant, and a lot of different jobs. When I came here, I studied in yeshiva for a few years. I was in Or Sameach. I was in yeshiva Sharei Torah really, in Monsey. And then I started yeshiva university, got my degree in accounting, got a degree in medieval Jewish history, spent a year in Memphis, Tennessee, teaching American Jewish boys, from regular Jewish families. It was quite an experience. And then I came back to New York and I did my smicha here, 4 years in rabbinical school, got my ordination. And 2013, I joined the workforce. I went to work different. First, I was looking for a job. I was working different jobs like marketing, sales, this, that, and then I started accounting job. And today, that's what I do until today. I work full-time as an accountant, primarily in the real estate industry. Actually, right now, I work directly under a CFO in a real estate management company. And what's unique about me is that I get to see the both worlds, the religious world and the business world. And why am I even qualified to talk to you today? Because last 13 years I spent studying these signs of self-development. I really went in deep inside, studying Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, Napoleon Hill, Stephen Covey, and many, many, many others. I was reading books, buying programs, attending in-person seminars, online seminars, name it. So I went to Kyiv one time in 2019 for a 4-day seminar, with 2-day seminar with Itzhak Pintusevich. So wow. I did a lot of different things, and I've been accumulating the stuff, and not just accumulating, actually applying it. I have to tell you that at some point I thought I could never build a family. I thought when I was having relationships, they were like falling apart. And then Baruch Hashem, today God blessed me with a beautiful spouse, 4 children, and we used to live in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment. Many of you visited me there, and now Hashem blessed us, and we're able to live in a spacious place with a backyard. And just the daily habits, like I used to drink 5 cups of coffee, now I drink 7 cups of water instead. No coffee at all. I've been exercising every day for past 5 years. 5 years of daily exercise.
That's great. I
went from 10 push-ups to, right now I'm doing 90 push-ups, 30 pull-ups, 60 squats, and abs every day. Obviously if it's a Yom Tov, to make up the next day, but that wisdom, that science really helped me in life, and I want to pass it over to you, share with you to, maybe it will help you too as well. And everything is in Torah, everything is in Torah. They say about Divinsky Gaon that he used to, when he was in the bathroom, he wrote a math book, because he want to think about Torah. So on a person like him, he's able to take everything from the Torah and to find all the math stuff. We're not on the same level. So what my approach is that we take the Chokhmat Goyim, the non-Jewish wisdom. There's a new marker, so I just picked it up today. The Chokhmat Goyim, right? This is the non-Jewish wisdom. If you say non-Jewish wisdom, like the Tony Robbins and the Stephen Coveys and the Napoleon Hills, and we have the Torah, right? The Torah is God's wisdom. And at some point they overlap a little bit, Not a little bit, a lot actually. Torah is self-development, but besides the basic self-development, there's a lot of other laws. There's a lot of ritual laws, how to put on tefillin, how to slaughter a cow, which is not, obviously we know that it's self-development, but the goyim, they wouldn't appreciate it. But there's a lot of common ground over here. So my goal from the beginning was to see the tools and then go back to Judaism and understand, is that in the Torah or not? And whatever is in the Torah, I'd like to keep. Whatever is not, filter out. So, that's my ability, that's my passion, and I'm bringing you all this material tonight. Okay, so let's talk about generating energy. Can I have next slide, please? There's something called, 1 second. Rules of engagement. Okay, guys, playful out. Playful out meaning you've been very good so far. All right. When I ask you to jump, jump. When I ask you to work in the partner, please work in the partner. Try to work with different partners throughout the night so you can network, so you can meet other people. Have fun, take notes, work with partners. Lots of moving, talking, thinking, learning, and no time for arguments. Learn now, debate later. Listen, there might be some things that you disagree with. I want to hear your opinion, but not now. I want to hear it after the seminar because there's so much to cover. And consider it as a fruit platter, right? Fruit platter, you might like blueberries, you might not like bananas. You know, just take the kiwi, take the cherries, take whatever you like. Take the information, use it, apply it, have fun with it, and I want you to walk out of here saying, I had a good night, I had fun, I learned a great deal, I met some great people, and I learned the tools to have an amazing year. That's what I want you to walk out of here, and I want you to say it was worth my time. And I want to say to myself also it was worth my time. So let's play full out. If you're already here, give yourself 100%, take notes, and learn as much as you can. Okay, next slide, please.
Will we have any access to this presentation?
Yes, presentation. Okay, Tony Robbins is huge on this, physiology. What's physiology? Physiology is basically saying that our body is connected to our emotions. So when I speak slowly and in a low tone, I kind of feel the same way, you know, and people start falling asleep. But when I speak loud and exciting, I start feeling differently. And when I speak and I jump, then already that's completely different story. So our body is connected to the way we feel. The way we move our body is connected. So sometimes we feel sad on the inside, so we project ourselves the same way. You could look at somebody and say, you could look at his face, you could look at his posture, you could see the way he talks, and you could say right away, he's having a bad day. Or you could say he's in a good mood today, right? So, but the other way around it also works. Let's say you're in a bad mood, you want to put yourself in a good mood instantly. Or you're feeling lazy or tired. You know, a lot of times we just feel tired. So how do we wake ourselves up? How do we do it? We use our body, we use the physiology, we use that secret, that science to transform, to change. So I'll just give you an example. The other Friday, it's the end of the week, I'm doing a report at work, I'm falling asleep. I said, Ephraim, this is not the way to work. I went across the hall to the gym, push-ups, put on the headphones, jump, come back like a new person, completely. I don't need coffee, no coffee. This concept of physiology, this is a very important concept. You could, if you just learned this today alone, that's it, Dayenu, that would be enough. You could apply this concept wherever you are, and once the blood starts circulating, once you breathe and you fill up your lungs with oxygen, and when you listen to music and you jump and you dance, you're acting happy, you start feeling happy. That's what it is. Yes?
Can I have a question? So can I write it down like the subject number one would be physiology?
You can write down whatever you want. You can decide how, this is your life, your notebook. I'm not checking on your notebook. You know, you decide how you want to take notes. Okay, can we have the next slide, please? Jonathan, I'm sorry. Changing your physiology means changing your mental state and breaking your negative patterns. That's what it is. Okay, I promised you Jewish sources. Straight up, Yisilat Yesharim, chapter 7. You would not believe this, okay? He actually goes through this concept and says sometimes there's an inner fire burning inside of us, and that inner fire translates into our passion, right? We move passionately, we learn passionately, we engage other people with passion, but sometimes the passion is not there. Sometimes we're sleepy, we're lazy, we're sad. So what do we do? What do we do? Wow, this is physiology straight up. He says the outside motion wakes up the inner emotion. Straight up, Tony Robbins, you know, about 300 years earlier. So our stuff, the Torah has everything. I'm telling you, the Torah has everything. So, yeah, can we have the next slide, please? Oh, so sometimes we have to work with what we have. We have to work with what we have. Sometimes the feelings we cannot control. This is a very important point, right? The feelings we cannot always control. But the body we could almost always control, right? Can everybody snap their fingers? Wow. How do you do this? You just told your body to do it, right? Can everybody raise their hand? Okay, so you told your hand to be raised and it listened to you, right? So the body we can control. So we can work with what we have. And through working with the body, which we can control, we can translate that into inside and influence the heart, influence the emotions, influence the spirit, influence the brain, right? Through the heart, through the body, through what you work with what you have, and through that you could use as a leverage to change the way you feel. So far so good? Okay, next slide please. Alright, another source from Rishonim, this is Sefer HaChinuch. I was looking for a long time for this source. Today I was actually able to find it. I just added to the slide a couple hours ago. Okay, it's actually in the context of Korbanot. He's talking about the Korban Pesach. They're saying we're not allowed to take a bone and break it on the Korban Pesach. He said, why not? Because that an action that it could translate into emotion. He has like a few pages of explanations, but that's one of the explanations. And then he says, כי האדם נפעל כפי יפעל הטוב, וליבו בכל מחשבותיו תמיד אחר מעשה שהוא עוסק. Right? Whatever you're busy with, that's your mind is going to be impacted by the way you do things. Что ты делаешь, what you do, influence the way you feel. And then he says straight up over here, כי אחרי הפעולות נמשכות הלבבות. After the actions, the heart draws. Okay? So let's put this concept into practice. We're going to now turn on the lights. We're going to turn on the music. 1 second. And we're going to influence our heart, right, by moving our body, like we just learned by Tony Robbins and Misilat Yesharim and Sefer HaChinuch. And then we're going to break up into partners. And we're going to review. Okay? We're going to review 3 points that you learned. How can you apply it? Okay, let's go. Go, show me some energy. Come on, guys. Ayin has to be happy. Евреи должны быть счастливы, guys. I love me. Yes, guys, I love me. You rock, baby! You rock, baby! You rock, baby! You rock, baby! Come on, guys, play full out, play full out. You want to get my You rock, baby! Okay, now, Jonathan, can we have the lights, please? And, thank you. Okay, break up into partners. This is how we're going to learn throughout the whole night. Ask your partner, what did you learn? Give him 3 points that you learned, and how could you apply it? Йон, ты можешь музыку поставить в задний план?
Points that we learned.
Okay. Вставайте. Pick a partner. Pick a partner. Да, разберитесь на пары. Break into a partner. Find a body. One person goes first, and after 2 minutes you switch. Okay? What did you learn? What did you learn so far? And how can you apply it? Okay, I hope you're meeting new friends. I hope you're getting value out of this. This is great stuff. At least, this has been very useful in my life. Okay, can we have, thank you so much. Next slide, please. Okay, next, we're going to talk about vision. Okay, vision. So Stephen Covey says like this. There's two times we create. First, we create in our mind. And then we create in real life. Okay, again. First we create in our mind, we imagine. we make a plan.
סוף מעשה במחשבה.
Exactly. So maaseh b'machshava tchila. Right? In the end, product starts with the original thought. Right? The thought comes before the action. At least so it should be. Alright? Let's say somebody is in a construction business, right? Let's say they start building. He said, what are you building? Oh, we're building a house, a 4-story house. He said, how you're gonna build? Well, figure out on the way. You know? Well, there's gonna be a lot of expensive change orders, trust me. Okay? There's a lot. Whatever they thought is gonna cost $1 million is gonna cost 20 millions because they didn't have a plan. So believe it or not, this is exactly how God operates. Or at least how He's teaching us, how He created this world. Look, the very first Midrash in Parashat Bereshit, we just had Parashat Bereshit. What does it say? That God had a plan before He created the world. And He says the Torah was His tool. The Torah was His architectural tool. It was His plan. He looked at the Torah, right? He says, okay, first day, what should I build? This is what the Torah says. The second day, what should I build? Day number 6, what does it say? Day number 6, Adam. Day number 7, Shabbat. And he had a plan, and he went exactly according to the plan. Now think about it. Does God really need a plan? Like, does He forget things? Does He need to think things through before He starts doing? Or God is almighty, and He can do anything and everything. He could just start doing things and get it done without a plan. So what is this Midrash teaching us? Because God can do anything and everything, so there has to be a lesson for us. And the Midrash says very clearly, Benohak Sheba'olam. This is how the world works. You want to have a great life? First, create it in your mind, put it on the paper, have a plan, and then execute. Wow, beautiful stuff, right? So this is exactly what we're going to do tonight. We're going to create first ourselves, our perfect version of who we want to be like. How do we see ourselves 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now? Maybe 60 years from now is pushing it already. Do we see ourselves like this? Oh, grandson, come here. Or do we see ourselves like, grandson, come here, I'm going to pick you up. Because even though I'm 70, I'm full of life. How do we see ourselves, right? We have to imagine the picture here. And then start working towards that picture. So we're going to start with the vision, okay? We're going to start at the end. Stephen Covey says start at the end, okay? We're going to do now a very deep psychological exercise, very deep. It's going to last us about 20 minutes, half an hour or so. And the idea of this psychological exercise, please guys turn off your phones or put it on the vibrate, put it away, because you don't want to be disturbed during that exercise, okay? It's going to be full immersion. You're going to use your imagination. I hope that if you want to cry, cry. If you want to laugh, laugh. Probably most people would not want to laugh. But this is a very powerful exercise. I've done it in Kyiv, 2019. Gave me such a insights when I came back to New York. I started doing things very differently. Very different. I made some major decisions. So get ready. And that's the way we're going to do it. After there's going to be 5 sections in this exercise. After each section, you're going to open up your eyes and you're going to take notes. Okay? And then you're going to use these notes. If somebody forgot to bring a notepad, a pen, there's more on the table over there.
Okay.
Okay, yes. Okay, so we're going to start, we're going to be working on our vision. Можно выключить тот самый projector. We're going to start working on our vision. Then we're going to get to the goal setting. Goal setting. Where we're going to be talking about specific goals that you want to set for this year, for the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And then we're going to talk about decisions. Okay? And decisions that we're talking about already execution. Okay, right now we're here at this part, the vision. Okay, this is the most important part. If you need to leave early, if you can get this in, this is the most important part, okay? If you have that vision, you're going to create in your mind, like Stephen Covey said, like the Madrash said, and then you're going to create in the real life. You're going to, for the next 3, 5, 10 years, you're going to aim towards that person that you're going to imagine soon. Okay, so the exercise is like this. Okay, the exercise is like this. Close your eyes. Everybody, please close your eyes. Jonathan, can we turn off one of the lights? Thank you. Close your eyes, relax. Okay, so imagine you're coming to a funeral home, out of all places. You're coming to a funeral home, and everybody, there's a lot of people there, a lot of people you know. Almost everybody there you know. And you're curious, you don't know whose funeral it is. You really don't know, and you can't wait to find out. And you come over to the casket, and you see a picture of the person that is inside the casket. Who is that? It's you. It's your funeral. Oh my God, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, this is my funeral. And they're gonna call up 5 speakers to speak. Each one is gonna talk about you from a different perspective. And the first speaker comes up. It's one of your very close family members. And you have to pick one. Just pick one. If you have children, you could pick a child, a daughter or son. If you don't have children, you could pick one of your parents, a father or mother. If they are no longer around, you can pick one of your siblings. If that is not an option, pick a close relative. Pick a family member. Whoever it is, once you pick him, imagine he gets up to speak. He or she gets up to speak. And he's talking about you. What is he or what is she saying? Were you a good father? Did you read them a story? Or were you working 24/7, never giving attention to your kids? Were you a good son? Did you pick up your phone when your mother called? Did you bring her flowers? What is that person saying about you? And be honest the way things are. This is your funeral, people are talking. What is your son saying about you? Daddy was nice and warm, or he was brutal, he was rough. What is it? What kind of father are you? What kind of son are you? Whoever you picked as your model relative, what is he saying? Now, imagine you can go back and change everything. You can go back and start everything over again. What would you want that relative of yours to say? If you could go back in time and change everything, would you keep the things the same way? Or would you start living differently? What would you change, if anything? What kind of person would you become instead? Now imagine everything worked out perfectly. What is now your son or your daughter or your mother or your father, what is he or she saying now? You can open up your eyes and take some notes. You can take some notes and make some conclusions and decide if you want to keep the things the same way they are, or whether you want to change anything. If you're done taking notes, close your eyes. We're going to go to the second person. The second speaker at your funeral. Второй человек, который выступает на ваших похоронах. Second person. Who is that person? It's your co-worker. it's your business partner, it's the employee that is reporting to you, or it's your boss. Pick one person. Pick one person that knows you very well from the professional point of view. Somebody who you've been working with, somebody who knows your strengths and your weaknesses. Pick that person in your mind, decide who that speaker is going to be, and imagine he's getting up to speak now. What is he saying about you? What is he or she saying about you? Close your eyes and use your imagination. What is your business partner saying about you? Were you a good business partner? Were you a good employee? Were you a good employer? Were you fair? Did you show up on time? Did you give your 100% to the job, to the project? What were you like from the professional point of view? Are you happy with the way you are? Is he saying only the truth? It might be embarrassing, or it might be something you're proud of. You could say, wow, thank God I'm doing very well. Or you could say, I'm really struggling in this area, professional area. I've been switching jobs one after another. The people I'm working with are not happy with me. Observe the truth. Look at yourself from the side. This is the best time to do it now. Now imagine if you could go back and change everything and start over again 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So you could become a different person, professionally speaking. What would you do? What would you do? What would you want them to say? How would you live your life differently? And what would you want them to say? What do you want your business partner to say when he gets up to speak at your funeral? What do you want your employee, your subordinate or your superior to say at your funeral? What would you want him to say or her? This is a time of honesty, to be very, very honest with yourself. Okay, we can open up our eyes and take some notes. Take some notes before and after. What's your goals based on that experience? Are you going to make any changes, or are you going to keep everything the way it is? Are you already your best possible version in terms of your professionalism, in terms of your career, in terms of your business? Or there's something you feel like you're missing out? Now's the good time to take notes, to make some conclusions for yourselves, to make some decisions. Now the third speaker is about to stand up. He's going to speak about it before the audience, all the people that came to pay you their last respects. Everybody's crying, everybody's saying it happened much sooner than they expected. It's your funeral, people are getting up to speak. Please close your eyes, we're going to imagine our next person. And now, the next person is somebody from your community. Somebody from the synagogue, somebody from the community that knows you from the community perspective. And he's getting up to speak about you. What is he saying? Did you come to Minyan? Did you help out around the shul? Did you come to the classes? Or you were ignoring the calls? Do people even notice that you're gone? Are the people even realize that you're not there on the holidays? Somebody from your community is speaking. Pick that person and listen to him. Listen, what is he saying? Is he saying nice things about you or not so nice things about you? Is he saying he could have been better, or is he saying he did his best? Now, imagine you could change things around. What would you want him to say? what would you want that person to say? Would you want him to say that he was always around whenever we needed him? He was the first one in the shul from Minyan. He came to the classes, he organized the classes, he ran the kitchen. What would you want them to say about you in terms of your community involvement? You as a Jew, what would you want other Jews to say about you in terms of your Judaism, in terms of you as part of the community? You can open up your eyes and take some notes. Take some notes, make some conclusions, decide if you want to keep everything the way it is, or you want to make some changes. Maybe there's a project that you want to lead. Maybe you're too involved in the community, you want to take a step back, focus more on your family, more on your job. Decide this is your life. This is the time to create your life in your mind. So when you walk out of here tonight, you can start executing. You create in your mind, and then you create in the real world. Okay. The next speaker is about to speak. Please close your eyes. Who is that? It's your best friend. It's your best friend. If you have a best friend, a good friend, somebody that you grew up with, or somebody you spend time with, somebody you should spend time with, he's getting out to speak, and now he's talking about you. What is he saying? What is he saying about you? Are you a good friend? Whenever he needed a loan, were you able to loan him money? Or you said, I'm sorry, I don't want to help you? Whenever he needed help moving, did you pretend like you're busy? Whenever he wanted to watch a soccer game, did you make yourself available? Did you call him to learn Torah? What kind of friend were you? What is he saying about you? Everybody is listening. This is the time of truth. Are you a good friend? Were you a good friend? Did you call your friend on his birthday? Did you visit him in a hospital? What kind of friend were you? And now, imagine if you could do things differently. What would you want your friend to say about you? If you could change anything, everything, what do you want to hear? Would you want your friend to say different things about you? Or are you happy with everything you heard? This is your life. You decide. You're the boss of your life. You're in charge of your life. Decide how you want to see yourself and live according to that vision. Okay, you can open up your eyes and take some notes. Now we have one more speaker at your funeral. We saved the best for the last. Is he saying you could have been better, or you saying he did his best? Now, okay, close your eyes. The last speaker that you have, obviously, they don't mention Hashem. We're going to work. Ask somebody that you can relate to. It's your wife. Your wife is getting up to speak. I see a lot of guys here, not a lot, but half the room is not married. So you can imagine your ex. You can imagine somebody you have relations with, and that person is getting up to speak. What is he saying? What is she saying? What is she saying? You were a terrible fiance, you were a terrible boyfriend. You're a good husband. Or imagine if you could have a wife, if you would have a wife, Bezrat Hashem, one day, hopefully very, very soon, you have one and she's getting up to speak at your funeral. What would you want her to say? What would your idea of an ideal husband? What is she saying now, and what would you want her to say? Is she saying you abused her mentally, verbally? Is she saying you always came late, never brought her flowers, you were stingy, you raised your voice? Truth and only truth. What is your wife saying right now? Or is she saying he was kind and warm, respectful? He gave me my privacy. He gave me room to breathe. He loved me. He took me out. We had deep, deep conversations. What is your wife saying, and what would you want her to say? Are you your ideal person in terms of relationship right now? And if not, what would you want to change? This is the time of truth, guys. This is the time of truth. This is the time to create. Maybe you realize now that you've been single for too long and it's time to take some drastic action. You're going to walk out of here. You're going to call 20 different girls. You're going to say, we're going on a date tomorrow.
Same time.
This is the time of truth, time of realization, time to build our vision, who we want to be in the 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now. We decide now, and once the night is over, we start executing. All right, you can open up your eyes, take some notes, take another 1 or 2 minutes to take notes, and then we're gonna reflect. Okay, we're gonna shake it off a little bit. The funeral is over. It's time to go to the wedding. The funeral is over. I know I put some of you through a really, really deep roller coaster, emotional roller coaster, but there's a time we need to do this at least once a year. You know, the Gemara says, when the Yetzer Hara gets to you, remember the day of your funeral. Remember the day of your death. Why? Because it puts everything in a perspective. It creates a certain level of clarity. All right, everybody stand up. Let's move up a little bit. Oh, put your heads up in the air, let's go. Shake it off. Jonathan, сделай погромче эту музыку, а ту выключи. Physiology, guys, remember, changing your physical state is changing your emotional state. Emotion comes from motion. Let's go. Jonathan, погромче сделай, брат. We're gonna have a short discussion now, okay? Break up into partners. We're gonna have a 3 to 5 minute discussion. What you learned from the exercise, what you learned about the concept of vision. Let's go. Break up into pairs, please.
The same thing?
Huh?
The same
Different partners, different body. Pick a body. And what did I learn? What conclusions I made? Share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. You don't have to share it. Похороны и до этого понятие, что такое vision, да? Зачем видение? То, что мы говорили, что построить себя сначала здесь, сначала в голове, а потом...
Все это знают, что каждый человек
Everybody's working beautifully together, people making connections, people making friends, people expanding their network. You may end up working together. They might be each other's clients or customers or service providers. So I just want to share with you quickly a few sources about the importance of setting goals before we start setting goals. The Gemara says very clearly that on the path on which a person wants to walk, on that path they walk him on, right? They lead him on that path. So we have to decide what's that path going to be, right? So our ratzon is a major player, is a major factor, right? We're not animals, we're not elephants, we're not giraffes. Like we could be born in Africa and decide to move to Italy, right? We don't have to spend our whole life in one place. We've been gifted with the dignity to make our own choices. Hashem says, you decide how you want to live your life, and not only that, I'm going to lead you on that path. And that's what it is. By the way, Maharsha, if I remember correctly, it was Maharsha that I looked up. He's saying, what does that mean, Molechinoto? It's in a plural. If you notice the language, they lead him on that path. Who's they? So he says something fascinating. The angels that we create by our thought, actions, and words, these angels continue to move us in the direction where we want to go, right? So let's say if somebody decides, I'm going to work on my body this year, and he starts working on his body, he reads the books, he starts working out, he's switching to the healthy options. They notice this on Shamayim. Every time he does something, an angel is born, right? And that angel keeps pushing him in that direction. It's like, there's a book by Jim Collins called Good to Great. Right, good to great. He says, imagine a very heavy metal item, right, like a sphere or like a disc, and you're trying to push that disc, and it's very, very hard in the beginning. It's very, very hard. But the more you keep pushing it, it starts spinning slowly. But if you continue pushing it, at some point the disc starts spinning by itself, and all you need to do is just keep spinning it with your finger a little bit. Once we get into the motion, right? Once we get that momentum going, it becomes easier, right? So, but we have to decide the derech, right? The direction of our life. The direction determines destination. Okay? If we want to be somewhere 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the destination is not going to change overnight. But direction determines destination. If we make changes today, this year, some habits we adopt, new disciplines we adopt, our life could turn completely in a different direction. Okay, so that's the Gemara. Hashem says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha amalcha me'eretz Mitzrayim, harchef picha v'amaleh. Open up your mouths, ask me what you want, decide what you want. But in order to ask Hashem what we want, we have to decide what we want. Eh? We have to get passionate about it. We have to get obsessed about it. It says, Hashem, that's what I want. Give me this item. Right, but we have to decide what we want. We want to get married, or we want to make a career. We want to, what's our goal for this year? What's our goal? What's our primary goal? And that goal should be the main focus of our attention. Everything else, also maybe we just keep it on the back burner, not to let it go completely, but there's something has to be, like this is our goal for the year, okay? This is the most important item. Okay, the next pasuk will say every day, Pateh et yadechu mazbiah l'chol chai ratzon, and underline ratzon, okay? So this pasuk will say 3 times a day, ratzon. Hashem, you open up your hand and you fulfill the desire, the wish, the goal of every human being, right? L'chol chai ratzon. But if that human being doesn't know what's his ratzon, it's like, what do you want? So, let me think about it. So where's your list of goals? I don't know, maybe is it out in a car? Is it like, where is it? It's like, I don't have, you don't have your goals, you don't know what you want? So I kind of do, is that the kind of life you want to have? The kind of, so when you have today I want this, tomorrow I want that. Like, decide what you want and ask Hashem, this is what I want. Right? And demand from yourself, this is what I want. Okay, next item, the tourist and the taxi. I love this metaphor. The guy comes to New York, you know, back in the days where they had the yellow cabs, and he gets in the yellow cab and the taxi driver asks him, sir, what's the address? Where would you like to go? And he says, I don't know, I'm a tourist. I just came from Paris, you know, I don't know, what is there to see? He says, well, there's if you don't know where to go, I'll take you, how much money do you have? It's like, I have about $500, okay. I'll take you to downtown, then I take you to Rockefeller Center, then I take you to Ocean Heights. I'll keep taking you wherever I think you might be interested in going, or not, because my goal is to make money. I'm gonna keep driving you around until you run out of money, because I know what I want. I know I want to make money. You don't know what you want? Well, then you're gonna just keep riding on the back seat until you run out of resources. And that's what happens, friends. In life, when we don't know what we want, we fall into other people's goals and we become subordinate to them. And by the way, it's not a bad thing, it's not a malicious, it's not an evil thing, it's just that's the way life operates. And there's somebody dominates and he has a strong desire, you know, and he says, I know what I want. Everybody else sort of, a lot of times willingly, they respect the passion. So the guy knows what he wants, let me help him, all right? What about you? Do you know what you want? And a lot of times we're like this taxi driver, like the passenger, that we don't know where we're going, and we just keep falling into other people's goals. And the last one, metaphor for today, I think, which is a powerful one, a real story. A woman I was speaking to recently, she says, I sold my apartment. And why did I sell it? Because I want to downsize, and I want to take half the money and pay it for my house outside the city, right? The vacation home. I want to pay off the mortgage there. The rates was crazy. So what does he do? She sells her apartment in the big city for a lot of money, and since her son was also legally named as a co-owner, half the money is wired to his bank account. Real story. What happened? The son has a weakness. He likes to party, and he doesn't like to work. And now he has a lot of money in his bank account. And guess what he does? He parties like crazy. Like, you know, he's having a time of his life. He's like his mom, like, so when are you transferring the rest of the money? He's like, yeah, here's a little bit, you know. I spoke to the bank, they're not letting me to transfer the whole thing, there's some issues. Meanwhile, over the 6 months, he wasted almost everything. Almost everything. And now she's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Now, I live in a rental, I cannot afford an apartment and keep paying for the mortgage. This story became a mess. What do we learn from the story? What we learn from the story is that it's very easy to use up resources. It's very easy. It's like once a person sells something he has, now he has money on his hands. Now what is he going to do with this money? Money is a resource, right? He has to direct it, he has to invest it, right? He has to buy another piece of real estate, but not let it go to waste. So there's no like force that connects all that money together and directs it to a different project, then the money could just slip away. It could just like seep through the holes. What if its story is not just a real story which happened, but it's a metaphor for our life, right? What if we don't have vision for our life? If we don't have goals for our life, our time just keeps disappearing. Our energy keeps disappearing. We get older year after year, and we just keep switching screen on the YouTube, on the TikTok, on the Instagram, and minute after minute, hour after hour, day after day, we keep using up our resources. We're all millionaires. We have minutes and hours and days of our life which could unite and utilize and harness that power and direct it to the goals that we want, but we have to decide that we want, or we could just let it slip away. Just party away, just waste away. So we have to decide what we want. So the next exercise, that's the whole point of goals. So the goals, it's not necessarily that we're going to achieve all our goals. If we do, great. If we don't, that's okay. The goals help us utilize our resources and direct it to certain where we want them to go, not to let it slide. Okay, are you ready to make some goals? Say yes.
Yes.
There you go. Okay, let's go. So we're gonna do a next exercise. It's exercise actually, there are different methodology. This one is by Jim Rohn. Okay, Jim Rohn was one of my favorites, motivational speakers. He made a fortune in his 20s, and he really took this very seriously to heart. Okay, can we have some background music with немножко погромче? Okay, so take out your notepads and your pens. Okay, this exercise is not depressing. This is exciting. Okay, imagine your kids, and everything is working out the way you want it. Okay, it's not like you won a lottery and you can go wild. This is not a shopping list, but everything is working out very, very well in your life, and your career is going in a direction where you want it to go, and things are working out, your investments are making you money. Make a list of 50 things that you would like to get, to become, to do in the next 10 years, okay? 50, 50, 50, okay? Pinjo items, 50 items that you want to achieve in the next 10 years. 50 вещей, которые ты хочешь достичь. Okay, I'm gonna, as you make that list, I'm gonna help you out. It's perhaps you want to buy a house, perhaps you want to learn another language, perhaps you wanna get married, perhaps you wanna.
How many years?
10 years. Within 10 years. Within 10 years. В течение 10 лет. Okay, just go wild. Okay, go wild. The experiences that you want to have, vacations that you want to have, where you want to travel, what you want to do. Okay, any skills that you want to acquire, like learning an instrument maybe, or maybe some martial arts, maybe you want to learn boxing or wrestling. Maybe you want to write a book. Why not? Maybe there are some people that you're dreaming to meet. Maybe you want to meet the chief rabbi of Israel, or maybe chief rabbi of Bejuro. Maybe. Well, Hashem, everybody's busy right here. Maybe there are some habits you want to drop, and you want to maybe quit smoking, quit drinking. Maybe you want to go through entire Talmud, Daf Yomi. Not a bad goal. Make it yours. What turns you on? What do you like? What do you want? This is the time, guys. This is the time. We all know we should be doing this once a year, but most of us don't because we're busy. Right? Now is the time. Now's the time. By the way, it's only 3% of the people that actually write down their goals, and you're that 3% right now. You're at the top of the world. You made time. You came. You're working hard. Okay, maybe there's some donations that you want to make, maybe there's some organizations that you want to give back to or you want to support. Maybe you want to get a maid finally, right? Maybe you want to make it twice a week. Maybe you want to get a personal chef, a cook, to come cook for you, why not? It's a good idea. A ski resort vacation, a cruise. What turns you on? What makes you excited? Next 10 years, 50 items. Maybe you want to be featured in a Fortune magazine. Why not? Some career goals, you want to be promoted, you want to become a director, you want to be a head of division. You want to switch jobs, you want to start a new career. What is it that you want? Some goals for your children, maybe?
We can write down goals for our kids also.
Yes, why not?
So like our kids become.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, you could, you can make goals for your parents as well. Maybe you want to buy them a car, you want to buy them a house. Listen, whatever it takes to establish a family as soon as possible. What was my why? My why was many whys, right? So I felt lonely, I felt I want to be a good religious Jew, I want to keep mitzvot, I want to keep Torah. It's very hard when you're single, you live in a big city, not to do avirot, it's very hard. That was my why. I told Hashem, you want me to be religious? Give me a wife. Okay, give me a wife. I can't, with my, I'm too passionate with my myself. I need a roommate, you know. Whatever your goal is, that's what you focus. Everything else goes to the side. If your goal is to make money, again, why do you need to make money? Because you have family to support, you want to give tzedakah, you want to be able to buy tefillin. What's driving you? What's behind your ambitions? What's behind your passions? You got to be honest with yourself. Sometimes, it's not very good motivation. Or maybe sometimes it's not our goals. It's the society that tells us that should be your goal. Готов? В смысле готов? Написал? Отлично. Okay, next step is how. Now we're going to make an action plan. You have 3 goals that you outline for yourself. These are the 3 goals that you're going to be working on this year. You know why you want these goals. Now the next one is the how. How are you going to do it? Make a plan, at least 5 actions for each goal. Which actions you're going to take to accomplish this goal. Okay? You're going to walk out of here today with a list of goals for 1 year, for 3 years, for 5 years, for 10 years. You're going to walk out here with the knowledge and understanding, clarity. Right? Clarity is power. You're going to have a clear picture of why you want these 3 specific goals. That you can focus on everything. You have to focus on something, right? Concentrate on something. But you're not going to know your motivations, and now you're going to have an action plan. You're going to have specific steps. What steps I'm going to take to fulfill this goal, right? If there's a business that you want to start, right, I'm going to try to find a partner. I'm going to find the capital. I'm going to research it. I'm going to make a business plan. What is it what you want? Right? If it's the Torah that you have a goal that says, I want to go through entire Shas this year. Well, it's impossible, right? Unless that's all you do from the morning until night. Okay, then that's your goal. Everything else goes to the side.
But I have more than 3 goals that
Alright.
that for the first year is priority. That's fine.
It's good, but there's a phrase in the Gemara, tafasta meruba lo tafasta. If you grab too much, you grab nothing. So let's try to focus on these 3. If you think you can accomplish everything, okay, good for you. If you think you cannot accomplish everything, you grab too much, you grab nothing. Right? So it's better less, but for sure you're gonna focus on this, concentrate, then go for it. If you think you can accomplish everything, go for everything. A balanced life, when we have Torah goals, we have a spiritual life, right? We're working on ourselves daily, we have health-related goals, we eat well, we exercise. Our body is our temple, that's where our neshama lives, right? And we have parnasa, we make sure that we have money to support our families, we have money to support our organizations, to support our community. And personal goals. Personal goals is that we have good relationships with the people, right? A person could be a great person in terms of his shul attendance and his career, and he's working out and he's learning, but he comes home and he fights with his wife. It's not good. It's not a good life. Okay, so we have to make sure we have a good balanced life. Okay, guys, there's one phrase to note. It's not what you get that makes you valuable, it's what you become, okay? So whatever things that we listed, these 50 items that we listed that we want to get, we have to ask ourselves, what do I become? What do I become? Because that's the most important item in goal setting, is that these goals, what kind of person they're going to turn me into, right? While I'm pursuing these goals, will I become more greedy or more generous, right? Will I become more hard worker or more lazy? Like what will I become? That's really the most important items. Not what will I get, but what will I become. Следующий, окей, следующий. Следующий шаг. We have some practical tips done. Okay, guys, some practical tips. We're up to this unit. Now we're going to go to decision making. Okay, we're going to take a short break. We're going to go into decision making. Before we go into decision making, I want to give you some practical tips. Okay, now you have your list of goals. It's a great list. All right, you have your list of goals for this year. Put it down on a picture. How do you do it? Put it down on a picture. You go on the Fiverr, or if you have a designer like a friend that can do it for you. Fiverr, I do this already many years, at least like 3 or 4 years. Fiverr for $10, for $12. You send them the list of goals and they turn it into a beautiful picture. You can put it. Why do you need it?
No, what do you mean by a picture?
By picture, I have it. Yon, can you give me my knapsack, please? It's on the couch.
Take your camera and take a picture.
No, but design. It makes a design of your goals, right? You don't have to do it, but it's
It's a personal or AI?
What's a personal AI?
Who makes the design?
Whoever you send it to, Fiverr. You find a designer, or you can do it yourself if you know design. They make a nice picture for you.
That's cool.
You put it on your wall. You put it on your phone. You put it wherever you go. So the point here is that you become aware of your own goals, because it's not like we just made goals here and until next year. Until next year you forget about it, right? It's not how it works. So I have this. This I made this year. I just want to show you as an example, right? 2022, right?
I'm not wearing the glasses.
Alright, so my financial goals, my Torah goals, my personal goals, just put it on the picture. It's very nice, right? Every year I do this, but it's not just a list, it's something that it's pleasant to look at. You don't have to do it, it's just a tip, alright, a practical tip. Because we think about what's in front of us. That's just the reality. That's the psychological reality, right? You drive on the highway, you see a poster. Why they pay thousands of dollars for this poster? Because they know that's what you're going to be thinking about. So we have to become our own marketers, our own advertisement agency. We have to put in front of our eyes what we want to think about. Because what you think about, that's what eventually, that's what your actions go to. Okay, guys? You're writing them one. Let's shake it up. Up, go, guys. Shake it up.
Results come not by understanding this stuff, it's by taking action. As I said before, my original teacher, Jim Rohn, he used to have this phrase. He said, Tony, don't let your learning lead to knowledge or you become a fool. Let your learning lead to action. And he said, then you become wealthy. Well, I wasn't so worried about wealthy as I just wanted an extraordinary life. An extraordinary life comes from action. So I'm here for this quick little session just to make sure I bring you to the point of remembering the most important thing. Why do most people fail? And the answer is they fail to take action. The knowledge is not enough. You've heard me say this over and over again. Knowledge is not power. It's potential power. It's a resource. Once you have the knowledge, you can do things other people can't do, but only if you get yourself to execute, to get yourself to take action. So what's the difference between action or not? Well, new results come from new actions, but new actions are all fathered. All action is fathered or mothered by a decision. Decision making is the difference between being a leader and being a follower. Why do so many people have dreams that they never live, and why do some people live their dreams? The difference is action, massive, consistent action, but that comes first by making powerful decisions. And powerful decisions does not mean the right decision always. Think about it. Why do most people not make the decision and not act? Because they're afraid to fail. They're afraid to make the wrong decision. But think about it. How do you get great results? How do you get success? Success is really the result of good judgment. Good judgment is the result of experience. But ironically, experience is often the result of bad judgment. So part of what we're trying to do here with you is speed up the process of getting your results, because Dean and I and many of the people you're learning from here, we've all had bad judgment, just not enough experience to know. But then we learn. We learn from our bad judgments, from our poor decisions, and we made better decisions. We didn't beat ourselves up about it. So this very brief session is just about getting you to build that new muscle. So let me give you a couple simple tips. First key is like, how do I get myself to make a decision? Well, first you got to know what a decision is. A real decision is not when you express a desire. You're saying, oh, I want this, or I'd like this. A real decision is when you cut off anything except the thing you're committed to. I'm sure you've heard me say, if you want to take the island, burn your boats. If there's no way back, it's amazing what the human mind, soul, and spirit do. You will find the way. But most of us give ourselves a way out. And the human brain is 2 million years old. It's looking for what to avoid. It's looking to protect you. It's not looking to make you happy or successful. That's the survival brain. It's just trying to make you survive. You have to rise above it. And the way you rise above it is learning to make difficult decisions. And if you can do that consistently, if you can cut off anything except what you're committed to and make yourself take action even though you're afraid, you will have the rewards everybody else talks about and dreams about. My entire life, the framework of my life is, if I don't like how something is, I change it. You don't like your body? Change it. You don't like your income? Change it. You don't like your relationship? Change it. Change you first. Because if you just change relationship, you'll find the next person, you're taking you to that person. But anything can be changed, but change happens when you begin to realize you have the capacity to choose, to decide how you're going to think, how you're going to feel, how you're going to behave. And then you can draw a line in the sand and create a brand new direction for your life, a brand new pattern for your life. So let me give you 5 quick keys to effective decision-making. Let me share you with a story of a friend of mine that I think will hopefully inspire you and give you kind of an archetype of how to get yourself to do this. Let me show you the 3 most important decisions. Let me offer you a couple keys to making a habit of decision, and then let's make 2 decisions and get the heck out and go back to the rest of your course, all right? But I don't want you learning this stuff, learning what it is you want to sell or market or share and who you want to share it to and how you're going to do it, and then not follow through. You're saying, but I don't know what to sell. There's so many options. See, too many options keeps us from making decisions. You have to finally decide. I work with some of the greatest financial traders in the world. Paul Tudor Jones, if you know the name, Ray Dalio. I've had the privilege of interviewing 50 and becoming friends with about 12 or 13 of the richest people on earth who all started with nothing. The richest investors on earth. They all were not from the Lucky Sperm Club. They literally started with nothing. And they built billions of dollars. And what they all told me is the secret to anything in finance, just like your business, just like your relationship, is the ability to make decisions when you don't have all the information. See, what you have to understand is decisions create your life, but most of us don't want to make a wrong decision. So we try to get every bit of information and we get in our head. Get in your head, you're dead. Decision-making needs to be made from a strong place. It needs to be made from a place of high energy. A decision made from fear is usually the wrong decision. What I mean by that is, I want you to think right now about your life. Like people look at the conditions of their life and say, well, it's because of this happened or that happened. But many people can have the same horrible thing happen, but have a very different life because they made a different decision about what to focus on, what it was going to mean to them, what they're going to do about it. Those 3 decisions, what you're going to focus on determines what you feel. Are you going to focus on what's wrong or what's right? What's wrong is always available. So is what's right. Which one are you going to focus on? Because whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. And if you don't consciously choose what to focus on, I promise you, your phone, the media, if you don't have a plan for your own life, you're going to fall into somebody else's plan. So if you consciously focus on, and then you find empowering meanings, you got to decide, is this the end or the beginning? Am I going to give up or move forward? Right? Is God punishing me? That's why I'm going through all this crap? Or is God challenging me? Or is this problem a gift from God? The decision you make about what things mean will determine the third decision, which is what I'm going to do. Because when you think, you're being punished, you're going to feel differently and do something differently than if you think you're being challenged, than if you think this problem is a gift. So our decision making about these three areas, every moment of your life, you're making these three decisions. You're deciding what to focus on, but you might be making the decision unconsciously and it's affecting your life. You have to decide what you focus on. What does it mean? Is this good or bad, terrible, whatever it is? And unless you discipline yourself to find the good, the way the brain works, the old brain, the survival brain, it's always looking for what's wrong. And then it'll make you survive, but it won't make you succeed. It certainly won't make you happy. And then you got to decide, what am I going to do? In spite of all these challenges, what am I going to do? If you learn to make those three decisions well, your life changes, but let's try it at a higher level or a deeper level. I want you to think about your life. I would submit to you that whatever you've been through, the quality of your life has been the quality of your decisions. Think for a moment. Think of a decision or two you've made over the last 5 or 10 or 15 years or more. What are one or two decisions you've made that if you made a very different decision, you'd have a very different life? Better or worse, I don't know, but maybe the decision you make about who you're going to spend time with probably shapes you the most of most anything. Decision about what you're going to do for a living. Decision about are you going to act or give up. Decision about who you're going to love, whether you're going to make love, whether you're going to have children, what you're going to do. All these things, the decisions shape us. Can you think of a decision? Like sometimes it's a little decision, like you decided to go to this school or go to this meeting or this party, and then you meet somebody you love, or you get inspired by something and becomes maybe your vocation. What's a decision you made in the past that has really made your life better? Can you think of one? That if you made a different decision, your life would be very different today. What's a decision you made that maybe didn't make your life better? You'd prefer to make a better decision in the future. What I want you to get is the ultimate power, the one thing we've been given by our Creator above all else, is the power to choose. To choose what we're going to focus on, to choose what things mean, to choose what to do. And if you understand your whole life has been shaped not so much by your conditions, as much as it's been by your decisions, then maybe it's time to get good at that. So how do we get good? One, think about the power of decision, that anything in my life can change with a strong enough decision. No more. I'm not going to do this anymore. I've decided. And you cut off any possibility and you force yourself to move forward and you get momentum and your whole life changes. What's the decision you need to make? What's a decision that could change it all? So first, if you want to make better decisions, more decisions, first, just think about the power of some decisions. Maybe write down as an exercise we're done. I'll give you a little exercise to write down 2 decisions you've made in the past and how they've enhanced your life immensely, and maybe one that didn't work so well that you do different. So you get it. Second, once you know the power decision, you got to make decisions more often. Just your goal is to make more decisions more often. Now, most people don't do this because, again, they're trying to make the perfect decision. As I started to say, when I talk to my financial multi-billionaire friends, they say the people that screw up financially are often very smart people, but they're not smart when it comes to money. You know why? Because they don't want to invest until they know everything about something. Now, you should know a lot about it, but if you try to know everything, by the time you know everything, the opportunity's gone. Great investors have made decisions more often. They know they're going to be wrong, but they make decisions more often, so they have a better chance of also being right. They don't wait till they know everything. They don't wait till they're absolutely certain. The certain decision is the easy decision. Anybody can make that. It's a decision where you're uncertain, but you do it anyway, that starts to change your life or gives you the chance to learn, which is the third key. You'll make more decisions if, 1, you understand their power. If 2, you make them more often because you'll build decision-making muscles. You ever been with somebody like at a lunch or dinner at a restaurant and like the waiter is waiting and they're the last person, they still can't make a freaking decision? Some people have weak decision-making muscles. But if you make them more often and you get a habit of making decisions, you'll feel power. You'll read something, you'll learn something, and you'll act on it. You'll decide and act. And then you'll start turning dreams into reality instead of just having knowledge. Are you with me? So make decisions more often. But third, learn from your decisions. If you know that, listen, I'm going to make lots of wrong decisions. When I interviewed the 50 smartest, richest people on earth, all who started with nothing, all did it by investing, and what they all had in common that was so different than watching, somebody on CNBC telling you how the market's going to be, they all told me, I know I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be wrong a lot. But if I make no decision, I'll have nothing. See, so many people, they're afraid to make a decision also, not just to fail, they're afraid they'll be criticized. You know how to avoid criticism? Aristotle said it. He said, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing. That's the only way not to be criticized. Better yet, be a decisive person. Make a decision, and if it's wrong, you'll learn from it. If you're willing to learn, then no decision is a failure. People go, oh, I failed. No, I learned. And that belief in making decisions and learning from it gives you the power. Like people all the time say, I don't know what to do, I don't do. Do anything. Because sitting on the fence, doing nothing means zero progress. Better to make a decision and be wrong and learn and change than sit there waiting till you try to know everything before you decide. You'll never get what you want sitting on the fence. And then if you learn from your decisions, then stay committed to your decisions, but flexible in your approach to get them. You might say, this is what I want, but how to do it can change. And enjoy making decisions. If you can do it more often and you realize their power and you learn from each decision and you're just doing it, you're flexible, I'm committed to the result, but I'll get there another way, then you're going to have a tremendous time because you're going to have the power that your creator's given you that you're going to get good at because you're going to build those decision-making muscles by doing these things. And you start to enjoy them. Let me give you an example. Some of you are too young to remember this, but in the first Gulf War, back when George Bush Sr. was in charge, they sent a brilliant man to figure out how to deal with this situation in the Middle East. And his name was General Schwarzkopf. They called him Stormin' Norman. Some of you were little kids when this was happening. And he had a goal. His goal was to go over and stop Saddam Hussein. He didn't want to take over Iraq like we did the second time and get mired in a war. He said, we're going to learn from Vietnam. We're just going to protect our allies and make sure this aggression stops. And he put together a strategy, and he was brilliant. He was great with guys that had PhDs, and he was great with guys from the street. He was a man's man, an incredible leader of men and women, extraordinary human being. And so he came and spoke for me several times because at the time he was considered one of the strongest leaders in the world. And I interviewed him in depth, and then he and I became friends. And I remember asking him when I first met him this, and then he started sharing this as a regular component. But I asked him, I said, where did you learn the power of decision making? Because when you think about leadership, what makes you a leader is you're willing to make the tough decisions. You got to be the leader of your family or the leader of your kids. Otherwise, your kids are going to lead you. Right? You got to decide to lead, which means be decisive. That does not mean be right always. It means learn from each decision, make more decisions, keep changing your approach till you get the result you want. Understand the power of decision that's in your hand and use it. That's what a leader does. And we're all leaders of something. Hopefully we lead ourselves at least. And so I asked him, where did you learn this? He goes, well, Tony, being in the Army does not guarantee tough decisions. He said, but to grow up as a leader, you got to make tough decisions because any idiot can make the easy decision. I said, where did you learn decision making most? Is there a moment you can remember that shaped your decision making? And I remember the first time I asked him this, he lit up and he shared it that day on stage and he shared it for many years afterwards because he remembered. And he goes, I can remember vividly, Tony. He said, I was working for this general. I think he was I forget what level he was, below colonel. He was more of an assistant, I guess, at the time, but he had a certain rank, but way below the general. He said, I was working for this 3-star general, and he said, I remember one time, he left me in charge, and I didn't know what the hell to do. He said, I'm going away for the weekend. You're in charge. In charge? I don't know. He said, I don't know what to do. This is Schwarzkopf saying to the man. He goes, Rule 13. He goes, yes, sir, Rule 13. And he goes, sir? Permission to ask, what is Rule 13? He said, when put in charge, take command. He goes, okay, yes, sir, yes, sir. And he said, I thought, where has he done that before? And he said, like, what does he mean, take command, when I don't even know what needs to be done? And then General Schwarzkopf said, I remembered a time working for this man prior to this, and it changed my life in that moment. He said there was this big decision. The Pentagon had been fighting back and forth between two choices. It was a really strategic decision for the U.S. Army. And this, I guess he was a 4-star general. I said 3-star, but I think he was a 4-star general. He said this 4-star general he worked for, he was his assistant, right? So he was his aide. So he had to read, he said, books and books and books. He said probably 10 binders full of this much material. It took him about a month and a half for General Schwarzkopf to prepare for it, be ready to go. He gave some of the information to the general, but then the meeting got pushed up earlier than they expected, and he didn't get to fully brief the general. And so the people came in, and they were part of the Pentagon, major players coming to the 4-star general for a decision. And he said, okay, give me your presentation. So the first group gave their presentation about what needed to be done, and they did it passionately, intensely, and this is what we must do. And then he said, okay. And then the second group got up, and they gave their presentation in detail. This is what we do. And they were complete opposites. And the Pentagon, for 7 years, had been in conflict with no resolution over this. The general listened to both sides. He looked at him and said, do number 2. Do this one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They all got up, left the meeting to go implement. General Schwarzkopf said, I knew he had not read that material. There's no way he had time, and I didn't have time to brief him. How can he make a decision that big, that important to the entire U.S. Army? He doesn't have all the information. And so finally, when everyone left, he said, General, he said, permission to speak freely? And they built a great deal of trust over the years, being his assistant. He said, yes, at ease. Go ahead with your question. He said, General, I know you couldn't possibly have read all that material. That was my job, and I wasn't able to prepare you. The meeting moved up. You had very limited information. They both gave these little presentations, but the entire Army is being shaped by this decision, and you just made this decision. Sir, with due permission, explain to me how you made that decision. And John looked at him and said, what did I tell you about Rule 13? When put in charge, take command. He said, well, yeah. He goes, a decision needed to be made. It's been 7 years, and they can't make a decision, and both sides are equally intelligent. So I picked one. That's what you need to do. And he goes, but General, what if it's wrong? He said, if it's wrong, we're going to go take our best people to implement it. If it's wrong, we'll discover it's wrong sooner than sitting on the fence. And then we'll change to the other one. Meanwhile, we are moving forward. He goes, wow. He goes, that's intense. He goes, you know how I made that decision? Rule 14. He goes, yes, sir, Rule 14, Rule 14. He goes, sir, what is Rule 14? He said, do what's right. Do your best judgment of what's right. And if you discover it's not, change it. If that doesn't work, change it. If that doesn't work, change it. But be decisive. That's how you change life. That's how you change the Army. That is how you lead. And that is how you and I lead our own lives.
He was talking about failed decisions, right? Like when we decide to do something and then we fail. If you also notice, he said, I'm going to ask you to do 2 decisions, which I'm going to ask you, all of you, to do shortly. But I was in Tony Robbins' UPK, which is, not UPK, Unleash the Power Within, UPW, last year in West Palm Beach, Florida. Wow. And there was a 4-day seminar, fully immersive. And over there, he asked us to make 2 decisions. One of the decisions I made is that I'm going to come back to New York, I'm going to conduct a seminar. Okay, that was one of my decisions I made during that 4 days. He says, make 2 decisions that you want to do, one big, one small. He says, one of the decisions I said, I'm going to come within the March, between like Pesach and Purim, I'm going to make a seminar. I don't know if any of you remember this flyer. But that was the seminar that I was supposed to conduct between March and around March, right after the war started in Ukraine, like 2 or 3 weeks later. I was supposed to conduct this seminar. I'll tell you, between you and I, it failed, okay? Only 2 people registered, and it was a complete failure. Okay, if you see, I wasn't supposed to be the only speaker there. I invited Ricky Cohen, I invited Rabbi Shandalov, I invited Anna Ashura. They all committed. They all said yes. I booked them for the day. It was supposed to be all day event. Leonia, who was supposed to be here today, also he was gonna DJ, professional DJ the event. We're gonna do it like the real thing. It failed. Okay, it failed. At this point, I got a little bit, I don't want to use the word depressed. I got, I said, okay, disappointed. Considering also the fact that how much time and energy I invested in this project, I said, all this time I gave up on my Torah learning. I gave up on spending time with children. I missed a meeting a couple of times. It's a big project, And I had a little bit of, I heard a little bit, So, but I said then to myself, I said, stop. Learn a lesson, okay? It's not a failure. Okay, let's see. This is what I learned in Kiev, by the way. Failure, F-A-I, tak? Is that how you spell it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not a failure. It's what is it?
Experience.
It's experience. Open. That's what it is. It's not a failure. It wasn't a failure. It was an experience. Это не было промах. Это был опыт. Oh, but that's how we're supposed to look at life. You take a step. What if, like in that video that he showed them, Tony Robbins, right? He says, "What if it's wrong? Well, if it's wrong, we'll adjust it and we'll take some changes and we'll do another." And Baruch Hashem, you see today it worked out. So I learned my lesson. I said, this is what I need to change. Maybe I need to change the location. Maybe I need to make it change the price. Maybe I need to change the marketing strategy. How am I marketing the event? Okay. So I did a lot of changes. And today it came out very nice, Baruch Hashem, But what we cannot get stuck and say, okay, I failed, now what am I going to do? Okay, next. What else can I do? Action ends suffering. Okay, this is a good phrase to jot down. Action ends suffering. Okay? This phrase is from a former NFL player. What's his name? I forgot, but he's good. He's a good motivational speaker, suffering. He'll come to me. Action and suffering. Okay, so when we get stuck, we just need to start taking action. By the way, the same thing with the investment property. I was trying to buy for like 2 years. 2 years, and then I got so overwhelmed by all the contracts and all the details and all the process, and I'm so forget it. I'm just buying. The next property I can buy, I'm buying. Okay? And Baruch Hashem, I didn't buy it by myself, bought it with an investor, with a partner, with a friend. But the process whenever, at some point you have to say, that's it, I had 3 properties under contract at some point. Thank God I didn't buy all of them, thank God, because I would get with one, to manage one property it takes so much energy, but to manage 3 vacation rentals, it would be, thank God Hashem didn't make them go through, but it was a great experience, you just go, when you cannot decide, just go for things, okay? Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, can I get the slideshow? Okay, last 2 slides for tonight, and then we're gonna call it night. Anybody wants to speak? Anybody wants to say? Anybody wants to say like what you learned from today? Any value? You feel like you got value tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. You see where it is? More закрыт этот flyer. Okay, right now I'm gonna ask you to make 2 decisions. Okay, one big and one small. Сделайте 2 решения. That 2 decisions that you're gonna act on within the next 12 months. Okay, 2 decisions. 2 решения, которые ты сделаешь в течение года. Right? Yeah. Take a pen and paper and write down 2 decisions, one big and one small that you're gonna execute within 12 months. Come on, guys. Write 2 decisions. And then next year when we meet again, and it's going to be probably 100 people, and probably going to be in a different venue, you can stand up and say, last year I was at the seminar, and I made these 2 decisions, and you can tell me, and you can be our pride, okay? So make 2 decisions, whether it's a personal development decision, whether it's a business decision, whether it's a relationship decision. Make a decision, okay? Make a decision, 2 decisions, one big, one small. My other decision was that I'm gonna stop watching short videos on YouTube. Well, it saved me hundreds and hundreds of hours of my life. That's a great decision. How what?
How did you stop?
I fail sometimes. I can't say I'm completely free of an addiction, but Tony Robbins, on the third day of his seminar, he does this Dickens process. It's a long process, but basically it's like an hour, 2 hour long meditation where he makes you go through life, like fast forward 10 years, 20 years. Imagine you have that habit, whatever you want to get rid of, right? For me, that was the habit, to stop watching YouTube, right? He says, imagine, multiply it by 5, by 10, by 100 years. Imagine you continue doing the way you're doing right now, and basically just experience the pain, right? Experience the pain of all that wasted time, of all that wasted opportunities, and it's a process. Dickens process. Look it up, Dickens process. It's a very interesting experience. You could probably do it at home as well. Just turn on YouTube. Don't get me wrong, I still use YouTube, but now I'm using YouTube. It's not using me.
I use YouTube, but you could use it.
Okay, that's it. Okay, this is the next slide, please, Jonathan. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap up tonight's evening. Everybody's tired. Practical steps. Think on paper, plus or minus. By the way, this is the most amazing tool I can give you. Let's talk about toughness, right? Practical tools. Whenever I needed to make a decision, right? After college, I was deciding whether I should go and spend a year in Memphis, Tennessee. It was a big decision, right? We were deciding whether to move out of apartment and start renting a house, or continue living in a small apartment to collect for down payment. It was a big decision, right? We were arguing back and forth. We were deciding whether to switch our son from one school to another. It was a big decision. Probably spoke to 6 or 7 different rabbis about this to get clarity. But in the end of the day, whatever decisions you make, you have to evaluate. This is such a simple tool, but very practical. Plus minus. You put all the pluses that you can think of, all the benefits of the decision, and then all the minuses. What are the disadvantages of that decision? And then give you clarity. I still have this list before I proposed to my wife. Okay. Sometimes I look back at this list and I say, wow, thank God I made the decision, But like he said in the video, you never know 100% if you made the right decision or not, but at some point you just have to make a decision and you go for it, okay? This is another tool. What else? Talk to your mentor, friend, Rebbe, get clarity. This is a game. Marve Yitzhak, Marve Chokhmah. Right? The more you ask for advice, the more people. Our president, right? He is very good at this. He talks to 100 people to get a clarity, to get an understanding of the matter, and then he makes a decision. Important decisions, sleep on it. Silly decisions, decide quickly, right? When you're trying to decide kebab or steak, just pick one. Ask the waiter to pick for you, okay? Pizza or calzone. Just pick one, Okay, next slide, please, Jonathan. Я думаю, что меньше. Okay, are you guys interested to go through the sources? I can just still on the slide if you want. Let's go very quickly. Let's learn some Torah! Torah Temet, Natalano. Учим Torah. Okay. Straight up from Shulchan Aruch. You're allowed to get engaged on Tisha B'Av. You can take a ring, give it to a girl, and tell her, Hari at mikudeshet li b'tevat zot. How come? The saddest day of the year, everybody around is crying, fasting. They put ash on their forehead. They're reading the kinot. And you're proposing. How could the halacha possibly allow this? Mutar la'aretz shelo yikadmena acher. You snooze, you lose. Okay? You don't want another guy to step up who is more decisive. Right? It says, Pakay, while you're fasting over there, while you're crying, I'm gonna poke that girl, okay? You're mine now, okay? So you don't want to, decision making at its top, okay? From the Torah, straight up, Shulchan Aruch. I'm not making this up, okay? Next, Tzipora takes a rock. Her husband is about to get swollen by the snake. Okay? This is not Harry Potter, this is real stuff. Okay? He's about to get swollen by the snake. She takes out the rock. She takes the skin. Okay, use your imagination. And she makes the Brit Milah to her son. Why? Because she knows if she doesn't do this now, she's gonna become a widow. Okay, she doesn't want to lose her husband. She's being very decisive. Okay, this is decision making at its best. Okay, it's being very decisive. Now, how about some people who didn't do the decisions? Shaul is the leader. He's the first Jewish king. Okay, you can't blame the guy. He was the first one. Okay, if he was the second, he would learn from the previous, right? But he unfortunately was the first king, and he had the job. He had to execute Amalek, and he did not. What does Shmuel prophet tells him? How come you didn't kill the sheep? You were commanded, right? How come you didn't kill the king, Agag? And what is he saying? Asher Haman Ha'am. The people told me don't kill him. The people had mercy on the sheep. The people had mercy on Agag. So I didn't. I listened to the people. Oh, Shmuel tells him. You're small in your own eyes. You're in charge. You're the leader. What was the rule 13? When you put in charge, take charge. When you put in charge, take charge. Aren't we in charge of our own life? Aren't we the king of our own palace or our own castle? Right? We're the kings of our own life. We have to make these decisions. We cannot be small in our own eyes and let the people talk, right? He said the only way, Tony Robbins, you heard? He said the only way people don't talk about you, if you do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing, okay? If you want to be somebody, if you take action, if you say something, people will always criticize, people will always talk. This is just part of life. And people did talk, and they talked him out of making a decision that impacted us until this day. Right? So don't be small in your own eyes. Take charge. You are the king of your castle. Okay? You are the king of your life. Next slide. Oh, Amalek. Amalek, by the way, Gematria Safek. Same Gematria, 240. Alright? So Amalek is coming to create doubt in our heart. So we need to kill that Amalek to make the decision. And that's how we get out of doubt. Next slide. Same Gematria, 240. Okay, next. What's next? Okay, we're done, by the way. We're done with the seminar. Some of you said, oh, I love that seminar. It was the best thing in my life. Okay, what's next? If you guys liked my style, if you like my pitch, my content, you could let me know because I have a few more seminars in the works. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. What I did something similar with the Napoleon Hill. I took his book, I went chapter by chapter, and I provided Jewish sources, Jewish twist on what he's teaching. So the same thing with Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey has a lot of good stuff. A lot of modern day self-development is based on Stephen Covey. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend. Okay, another one is 4 Elements of Success and Fulfillment.
This is the works.
This is in the works. I mean, I have all the materials that, I need the audience. As soon as I have the audience, if we have 5, 10, 15, 20 people, it says, ready, let's go. We'll go, we'll do. You'll help me organize. Okay. 4 Elements of Success and Fulfillment is based on the Gemara. It says, "En Ashkenaz Shuriyah." The Ashkenaz only rests on a person who is Gibor, physically strong. Ashir has money. Mula. Yeah, you gotta go. Okay. And Gibor, Ashir, Chacham, Ve'anav. Sounds smart and humble. Okay, financial independence speaks for itself. And life-changing habits and disciplines. Okay, guys, we're over. Officially, this is it. Okay, if you want to leave a donation for Rage, I can reciprocate their kindness.